and the science. Follow the science. I've been reading this book. I mentioned this yesterday. Steven Koonin is a physicist who graduated from Caltech. Probably the brainiest institute west of the Mississippi.
Which book is this? Because I read his first book.
Did you?
Yeah, I read his first book. It's an example
this one's unsettled.
Of the numbers. No,
unsettled. You haven't read that one yet.
The numbers don't lie.
No, they don't. They don't lie. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he graduated from Caltech and MIT. This guy's a brainiac.
Right. He actually knows that the moon is at least 1,000 miles away from the planet.
He does know. It's about 1,050 miles.
Okay.
He knows about that. So anyway, he not only did he graduate and get a PhD from MIT in physics, but he was part of the Obama administration. He was one of his science advisors. And his specialty was climate change. And he's been looking into this and believed it. Well, then, long about, 2013 or 2014, he started to have some doubts because they were really studying it and looking at the data. And he started to think, wait a minute, we've been wrong about this the whole time.
Huh.
He believes it's happening. He believes the Earth is slightly warmed. He just doesn't believe there's anything catastrophic about it. And Michael Schellenberger, whom we talked to a few months ago, came to the same conclusion, same kind of guy. Been a liberal his whole life, was a complete climate change believer, and then he started to really look into things. And he's upset with the way they're exaggerating this, as is Steven Koonin. So anyway, he talks about this piece he wrote in 2013 in the Wall Street Journal because he was concerned about everybody saying this was settled science, and the science wasn't settled, and he knew it. And there's, the consensus they keep talking about when there isn't any consensus.
Right.
So he wrote, many scientific colleagues, some of them my friends for decades, were outraged that I would highlight problems with the science, and thus, as one of them said, give ammunition to the deniers. Another said it would have been okay to publish my essay in some obscure scientific journal, but reproached me for doing so in a forum with so many readers. And a prominent defender of the idea that the science is settled enough published a response to my op-ed that began by calling for New York University. Plus, he works at New York University. He's at NYU, one of the most liberal institutions in the world. But so this guy called for his for NYU to reconsider his employment.
Yeah, because it was okay for him to say it, just not where anybody heard it.
Exactly. And then he says, and he went on to misrepresent many of the things I'd written, which is what they do. Yep. That's what they do. But then bafflingly acknowledged that almost all the uncertainties I mentioned were well known and much discussed among the experts. It seems that by highlighting those uncertainties so plainly and publicly, I had inadvertently broken some code of silence like the mafia's omerta. It's exactly what's going on here. I started reading this book yesterday because I just found out about it and downloaded it immediely. And I started highlighting things, and I found, I'm highlighting every single paragraph in this thing. Why? Once you've highlighted everything, it's really not highlighted anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's really worth the read. Unsettled. He talks about how this has become a religious fervor to the left.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not science. This is not how science operates. They never say it's settled and don't talk about it anymore. That's just, and we've mentioned that. But it's nice to have a guy with these kinds of credentials saying it. He and Michael Schellenberger.
And who's the guy? And I don't remember his name, and it might be this Schellenberger. Who's the guy that was that had started Greenpeace? He's a
that's neither of these guys, but he's good too.
His name, but he's a big time. The numbers don't lie.
Right. And he started out, as you mentioned, founding Greenpeace.
Yes.
So it's interesting. And as soon as this happens with them, they lose friends.
Yes, they do.
Steven Koonin talked about all the friends he's lost over this because they're too crazy. They're just too committed, and they don't care that they're lying about it. In fact, they're fine with it.
Like most of the pet issues on the left, it's a cult.
Right.
Period.
Some would ask if they were really your friends to begin with.
That's true. Yeah. Your mom would ask that. Were they really your
were
friends
they
to
really
begin with,
friends
honey?
if they do that?
I don't think so.